is a recipe revision, so I might not give you too many details, but I'll try to give you everything you need to know. Or I'll give you the details, but I won't show you everything. This is a revision of the blueberry mini loaves, and the same revision would apply to the cherry mini loaves, because I found, especially the blueberry, they were too dense, and they were also falling apart, and it didn't make sense that they would. If they were dense, why would they fall apart? But I was using a whole lot of blueberry and no applesauce, because fruit is fruit, and I didn't think I also needed applesauce. But I revised it, and they came out really, really good. So what I've done is added a little bit of applesauce back, about 1/4 cup, and I've reduced the blueberries a lot. So the blueberries now are less than a cup. We'll say 3/4. Brain freeze. Oh, I don't puree them. I just stir them in with my whisk. So, in case you don't have the recipe from before, and I'm making 2 kinds. I'm making apple mini loaves as well. I'm not talking about that, but that's why I have 2 bowls over here. 66 grams of whole wheat flour, about 1/2 cup. 30 grams of soy flour, that's about 1/4 cup. 1/4 cup of loose oat bran, about a tablespoon of baking powder. That is the dry mixture. 1/4 cup of applesauce, 1/2 cup or so, less or more, of Splenda. But I'm trying to personally pull back on the Splenda. I don't want to go to sugar, but I understand that artificial sweeteners, the science says that they're fine, but the whole point of science is that it can be disproven, so who knows what they'll say tomorrow, so maybe I should start weaning myself. Anyway, 1/4 cup of applesauce, about 1/2 cup of Splenda, and about 1/8 cup or 1/4 cup of egg beaters. Then I'm going to have 1/2 cup of almond milk, the unsweetened kind that has 30 calories per cup, and you can use more than 1/2 cup if you like. I'm using 1/2 cup. I'm going to mix this together with my whisk. Whisk it. I'm going to put some water in here though, because I might need it. My oven is heating to, well, you have to know your own oven. Mine's at 350. I'll use 3 of these mini loaves. I will divide the batter evenly. So it's nice and wet. This is for something else. I like to try to stir it with my left hand. It's like one of those tricks they say to do things differently so it'll keep your mind sharp so you won't get dementia. That is totally not a scientific fact. Please don't think it is. I used to study aging, and they would call things like that in aerobics, like writing with your left hand, brushing your teeth with your left hand, doing a crossword puzzle with your left hand, anything to shake up the usual. So hey, why not? Though it may not help, I certainly don't think it could hurt. And that's why people watch my YouTube videos, because you never know what nonsensical fact I'm going to throw at you. So the last thing you do is stir in the whole blueberries. So as I said, the last time I made this recipe, I pureed the blueberries with the egg, applesauce, and milk. Maybe I just pureed them by themselves, I can't remember now. Instead of, well, how about that? My camera cut off right in the middle of talking. I don't know where I was. Well, I do know, because I watched the whole video to find out where it cut off. and it cut off before I added the blueberries. And I think I said that they had been frozen, but I thawed them out and I have just under a cup. And I'm stirring them in, not pureed. And then, see, now it's going to be too wet. If you do make your batter too wet, you can just let it sit for a minute, and because it has oat bran in it, it will thicken up pretty quickly. So then you evenly distribute your batter into 3 mini muffin pans, or you might choose to use one larger one, but you'll have to cook them longer and probably at a lower temperature to make sure that it cooks all the way through and doesn't burn on top. So I use non-fat butter flavored spray. I'm not sure why I'm calling it non-fat. Why am I calling that non-fat? No stick. I guess it's called non-fat because it doesn't have any fat or anything in it. If you use like a half of a second of a spray, which we all use more than that, but hey, who's counting? That's kind of funny because we all know I am. Okay, so I'm going to get my batter in there and then I'll bring the camera over. And I used to do this carefully with like a half a cup of batter into each pan, and then if there was any left, then maybe it would be like a quarter of a cup into each pan, so I was careful to be even. But now I always think I can do it without measuring. And I'm trying to just go by how it looks. And I can tell you that mine is too wet. So what will I do? Well, it might be less wet by the time I get the other cakes ready. And if not, I have to make sure that I cook it long enough, and I think that will solve the problem. And I did a horrible job with my evenness skills, which will bother me, so I'm going to try to fix it. That looks a little better. So, don't puree the blueberries like I did before, and don't use almost twice as much as I did then, and do add some applesauce. And I think before I didn't even use the almond milk. So yeah, I changed it a little bit. Here's the batter, and I'll show you them when they're done. Okay, yay, here they are. I cooked mine about 40 minutes, but I think that was because they were a little bit too wet. You might not have to cook yours that long. Look at those blueberries. So try this revised recipe. I think that you will be pleased. And they still have about 160 calories per loaf. Blueberry mini muffins.